Hello, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay.
Good morning.
Okay.
Good morning. Good morning.
Wonderful. So we're scheduled to start at 9:30. I just want to check whether there is anyone from the PCU and their PS. Is anyone from the PCU and or their PS present?
We are on. Good morning.
Good morning. And is your PS present?
No, my PS is not going to be in. Sorry about that, but we are here.
Okay, wonderful. All right, good. So under such circumstances, I think we are ready to begin. Okay, so welcome everyone to our graduation ceremony. It is 9:30, the time we intended to start. So you heard our celebratory music whilst we were waiting. So I guess at this point in time, since we're celebrating our achievement, we can definitely say, Siwu Kopan GIS Hele Huri. Or wait, you all didn't understand my request. Which one was it?
Hooray.
Hooray!
Hooray! Hooray!
Good. So at this point, we will have our welcome remarks by our Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Department of Physical Development, Mr. Hildreth Lewis. Mr. Lewis, are you ready?
Yes, good morning. Good morning to all. I would like to acknowledge, I hope they are present, the representatives of the World Bank. Do we have any representatives there? No? Okay, so but still make mention of them as the financiers for the training. I'd like to also acknowledge the Kartoza group, the providers of the training, or who were the providers of the training. I need to also mention the project coordinating unit, the PCU. This unit was the coordinators of the contractual relationship between the service providers and government, as well as the World Bank. And I want to acknowledge you to the training. You who were selected to be the cornerstone of St. Lucia's NSDI, a group of trained individuals in GIS applications that would allow us to leap forward in the way we collect, manipulate, store, and share data, and ultimately use that data in its derivatives for sound decision making. The Department of Physical Development and Urban Renewal salutes you who surmounted the many challenges that came your way during the training period and completed the course. Today is indeed a day to recognize your efforts and achievements and to celebrate. I will remind you, though, that much is expected of you. You have a lot of work to do in your respective places of work to bring us to this level where we can truly boast an NSDI that will underpin our decision-making nationally, especially in resilience building and sustainable development. I thank all of you who have made today's milestone possible and look forward to the other milestones awaiting. I thank you for your time and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Thank you for your congratulatory remarks, and we move right on to the remarks by our trainers. The team from Kartoza. So will the Kartoza representative please take the lead?
Thank you very much. Could I ask you just to switch to the other slide deck? Okay, I have a few slides.
Okay. That's the showcase slide deck.
No, okay, if you're on the Kartoza one, that's fine. If I could just ask you to advance to the next slide then.
Okay.
So on behalf of Kartoza and the team who I'll introduce shortly, I would just like to thank everybody from St. Lucia who's been involved in this project, especially the steering team, Mark, Kathy and Chris, Susanna, and everybody involved in participating in the training. It's been, from our opinion, from our point of view, a huge success. We had really great participation, great submissions for the various assignments, and actually quite some gratifying skilling up of people that who came knowing very little about GIS and who exited this program, or who are exiting the program knowing a whole lot about GIS and able to share their skills in the workplace. Could you move down to the next slide, please? Okay. So I just want to quickly introduce our team, which is myself, Charles, Dixon Paver, who's been really the bedrock of the training, and a special thank you to Charles for just keeping so many balls in the air and keeping everything organized. And Maya, who's our GIS expert and did a lot of the GeoNode and QGIS training. Amy, Sibiwe, Zinzi, who all helped with the breakout rooms when people were getting stuck, and they also gave additional top-up training and helped with a lot of the background preparation work of the training videos and so on. And to Gavin, who also co-presented some of the sessions. Just thank you to everybody in our team for doing such a great job. If you could move on to the next slide, please. I just wanted to give some kind of an overview of the large amount of work that went into this program. We produced over 200 hours of videos, which included the recordings of the sessions, but also a whole lot of special short videos which just show the key aspects of each session, so that if you don't want to watch the whole 2-hour session, you can just dive and watch a 5-minute version. So a huge thank you to the team who produced those videos, and that included over 250 hours of content, which is all available to the participants and anybody else in the future who might want to be learning about GIS and QGIS and all the other technologies we showed. It's a huge archive and treasure trove of knowledge that we hope you will all make use of in the future. And we covered many topic areas from GIS, web services, web geospatial portals, surveying and various other things. And again, it was really gratifying to see the depth and breadth of the interests of the participants that we were able to cover. If you could just move to the next slide, please. From the participants, we've had 23 fundamental case studies submitted. The case studies where the participants were asked to each submit a problem that was interesting and relevant to their work. And we'll see some examples of those as we work through the session today. But it was a really good turnout and the standard was really good. We were really impressed with how well people have picked up the materials and been able to apply them to their own problems. We also had the advanced track, which was a smaller group of people. We had 8 case study submissions there, and those were really, again, blew us out the water in most cases. Like they really showed an in-depth knowledge and application of that knowledge in their work. And again, we'll have a little window into some of those during the session, but just a hugely impressive response from the participants. So thank you for that. If you could just move on to the last one. I just also wanted to mention that in addition to the training, we also provide a lot of consultancy and support work in the actual establishment of your own open source GIS platform. We deployed a server, which we've been training Markathian to administer. And on that server, there are a whole bunch of geospatial web services deployed, including the new national topographic map work that we've been developing. And we developed a complete GIS project for that, that national map with all the cartography design and a complete design document to go with that, with guidelines on how to sort of continue to maintain and improve that map, plus the complete web service publishing of that topographic map. In addition, we took products that you've already had available, but they were not, they were surveyed by previous contractors, but they were not readily available to be used within your GIS. And we've mobilized that data so that it can be just easily dropped into your GIS project. That includes the 12.5 centimeter aerial survey and the 25 centimeter aerial survey data that has been previously carried out. And we also took and processed the elevation data, which was provided as contour data. We produced a complete elevation model and a complete new contour data set from that and used that in the topographic map, but also made that available as an easy to access web service and some topographic shading products from that. So there's everything you need to produce very high quality maps with terrain detail in them. I think that's my last slide. If you could just click next, Mark, I think, just make sure that I...
Yes, it is your last slide.
So yeah, just to finish that. So obviously a very short summary in 5 minutes to try to express what some of the work that went on in the last sort of 8 months, and it's been a fantastic collaboration. I just want to again thank everybody who was involved in the project, and we as Kartoza team learned a lot in the process and forged great relationships with many of your staff and team members, and we look forward to continuing those relationships even after our project is finished. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim. We now move on to the main reason why we are here, the presentation of certificates to our graduates. And unfortunately, since we can't have them come up on the stage, we are going to have to do this utilizing a slideshow. So feel free to applaud when the names are mentioned and the title of the project is mentioned. First off, we have Sergeant Anil Innocent 705 from the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, whose project was entitled Fatal Accident Report in St. Lucia. Then Ayana Bulu.
Markathian,
Yes,
Markathian, excuse me.
Yes.
Can you put up the certificate when the picture again for the first person? I didn't see the face. Oh, okay. Perhaps if you can leave the picture on a little bit so that we can see who the graduates are.
Okay. Yes, I will slow down. Ayana Budu, identification of suitable new sites for polling divisions or stations in Babono. Benjamin Theodil, identification of COVID-19 certified tourist accommodations of environmental health region 6 and 7. Charlotte Charles Leon of the Department of Environmental Health, strengthening mosquito surveillance system, spatial data infrastructure in St. Lucia. David Centromain, IT technician, Department of Physical Planning, identification of most optimal garbage bin locations in the city of Castries. Eden Paul, technician of the Department of Infrastructure, Ports, Energy and Labor, identification of high-risk flood sites. Eulampius Frederick, Policy and Program Officer of the Ministry of Equity, Social Justice, Local Government and Empowerment, identifying suitable sites for emergency shelters. Fabian Felix, Civil Engineer, National Integrated Planning and Program Unit, Spatial Analysis of Landslide Risk and Critical Water Pipeline Infrastructure. Gemma Edwin, Research Officer, National Integrated Planning and Program Unit, 4-meter sea level rise impact analysis on Soufre. Joel Ramin, Agricultural Engineering Officer, Agricultural Engineering Services. Site suitability analysis for proposed agro-meteorological stations to aid in increased farm production. Joel also participated in the advanced training program, and his project was field data capture, validation, and ground truthing application for topographic data. Joshua Augustine, Information Officer of the St. Lucia Solid Waste Management Authority, investigation of the correlation of roadside garages and derelict vehicle instances. Krishnan Alexander, lead firefighter, St. Lucia Fire Service. Is the Soufre fire station dangerously isolated? Krishnan also participated in the advanced training program, and his advanced project was Hydrants Field Survey Application and Application Framework. Dr. Michel Francois, National Epidemiologist of the Department of Health and Wellness, identification of areas with the highest burden of leptospirosis in St. Lucia, 2016 to 2020. Odetta Lewis James, Forest Officer, Division of Forest and Land Resources Development, mapping environmental and human threats to Esperance mangrove for management. Patrick Dujon, Statistical Assistant, Central Statistical Office, assessment of police station locations to secondary schools experiencing increased criminal activity. Phil Leon, biostatistician, epidemiology unit, Ministry of Health. Identification of water sources which may pose a risk to increased gastroenteritis related illness. Phil also participated in the advanced training program. His project was assessment of regional distribution of COVID-19 in St. Lucia.
Wow.
Ryan Les Forest, Police Constable, Royal St. Lucia Police Force. Mapping of criminal offenses committed yearly to the districts of St. Lucia. Ryan also participated in the advanced training program, and his project was Crime and Incident Field Data Collection Framework. Sanjay Richardson, Water Resources Officer, Water Resources Management Agency. Potential for a dam along the Trumasi River. Susanna Leon, Statistical Clock, Central Statistical Office. GINet signals in the Ancillary School District in St. Lucia. Susanna also participated in the advanced training program, a project being development of Atlas project for the visualization of election results and statistics. Tamisha Doxili, Forest Assistant, Division of Forest and Land Resources Development, identification and analysis of fire damage to develop rehabilitation plans. Tavius Mathrin, Acting Corporal, Royal St. Lucia Police Force, Annual 2019 Homicide Analysis. Zan Fontenelle, Property Tax Unit, Inland Revenue Department. Some market values of residential properties by block. That is the cadastral blocks of the country. Yasmin Polius, Police Constable, Royal St. Lucia Police Force, determining the prevalence of homicides in St. Lucia. Yasmin also participated in the advanced training program, a project being assessment of the prevalence of robbery on a weekly basis in St. Lucia. Krishnan Alexander, Information Technology Officer 2, Department of Physical Development. Development of an extract, transform, and load process for land registry map sheets from AutoCAD to GIS. And Shirma Small, Mapping Supervisor, Central Statistical Office, development of web-based map products and services, a web map service. So with this, we have come to the end of our list of graduates. So let's give them all a huge round of applause as we celebrate and shout out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good job, good job, good job. Wow.
Okay. So Now we move on to participant feedback, and we will have presentations or remarks from 2 of our participants. And these were the top 2 students in our program. And I would now like to ask Krishnan Alexander, is he ready to proceed and give his remarks?
Yes, I am ready to proceed.
So you may do so.
Yeah, can you enable me to share the screen, please?
Yes. Proceed.
Okay. Good day. I'm Krishnan Alexander, Lynn fireman attached to Soufrière Fire Station currently. And it was a pleasure to be part of this course, learn new things. The first part of the course, the fundamentals, the project that I ended up with was essentially asking the question, is the Soufrière Fire Station dangerously isolated? And some of the key things that led to this question was it's the fact that just traveling to work, it seems like a more distant station. So I wanted to get the actual statistics. And bearing in mind that Soufrière is a hub for tourists, probably the largest hub for tourists. We have at least 4, 5-star hotels there. And also medical facility. There's a hospital there, but it's not up to scratch compared to, say, Vieux-Fort or Castries. And the Lucia Fire Service has, we do about 98% of ambulance responses. And the key thing with ambulance responses and fire responses is time. So for example, there's stuff like the platinum 10 minutes where, a brain cannot stay without oxygen for anything over 6 minutes and brain cells begin to die. When it comes to concrete walls cannot sustain, fire for more than an hour before they start breaking up. So key thing here is time is of the essence. Now stations, they have an understanding between them that, hey, when we need help, you guys are going to come and help us. So Soufrière, the 2 neighbors on either side of them is the closest neighbors is the Castries Fire Station and the Vieux-Fort Fire Station. So essentially, I wanted to know, well, how long would it take for Vieux-Fort to respond to Soufrière? How long would Castries take to respond to Soufrière, in light of the fact that we're dealing with situations where there isn't much time to spare. So first thing, as you can see my map, the first thing I had to do was to plot out the stations on the island. So that data wasn't readily available, but through a process called digitizing, I was able to use a map that had spots on it, like a Google map, and basically digitize a layer with the fire stations, as you could see here. The next thing, as you can see here, there's black marks, as I'll zoom in there, essentially represents the road network as it currently stands, the full road network of St. Lucia. And so my job was to figure out the shortest route in between those stations. And to do that, there was a series of steps that had to be employed. And the good thing about this training is that these steps to do this, they can be grouped together in basically, so that basically with the press of one button, everything that I labored doing can be done automatically. So that means persons coming after me don't need to have the same level of training as me, because all they need to do is just press one button and everything happens automatically. It's called a model. So what you're currently seeing on your screen here is the shortest path between each one of the fire stations. Each of them are called it differently. So that's the shortest path from Soufrière to Vieux-Fort, from Soufrière to Castries. And in my calculations, what I found to be true is when traveling at the national speed limit of 60 kilometers per hour, I found that to travel from Soufrière to Castries would take would cover 38 kilometers, the shortest possible route out of all the routes possible, 38 kilometers and a distance of 30 and a time of 35 minutes. With Soufrière to Vieux Fort, it would be 26 kilometers and 24 minutes. These two times represent the longest travel distances. The next longest travel distance is 22 minutes, which is between Dennery and Castries headquarters. So you see that even the shortest route that Soufrière has access to, the one to Vieux Fort, is longer than any others. So on either side of Soufrière Fire Station, the distance to the nearest fire station is greater than any other distance that any other station has to travel. So in essence, Soufrière Fire Station is the most isolated station on island. And when you factor in other things like the hotels and the lack of a full-fledged hospital, then we realize that I guess some attention needs to be shown to Soufrière Fire Station and to Soufrière on a whole as far as medical related, like the hospital and that sort of stuff. So that was one project. The second project that I worked on was essentially hydrants. So again, earlier this year, I was sent to Soufrière Fire Station for the first time. It was the first time working in Soufrière, and the problem that I encountered was that as a crew chief, I am supposed to know these various locations in Soufrière, like where are the hydrants at, where are these buildings that can pose certain risks to my responses. And I'm supposed to know these things, but these things can only be known through experience in the field, through being at Soufrière and driving things. And so this course helps with that, in the sense that now we can now plot those certain risk areas on a map, so that no matter who you are, no matter where you get sent now, you have your digital device that has all the data in it. In my case, what I plotted was hydrants. So I'm currently trying to open up this project, the hydrants project, but essentially that's the premise for the hydrant project. Now I have just about fully mapped the district of Soufrière as far as the hydrants, where they are located. And going forward, the idea is to map the entire St. Lucia so that we have a digital map of where all the hydrant locations are. And going even more forward, what we want to do, or what is in my mind, what I think is best, is to now get our appliances outfitted with GPS, and that way the persons in the stations who have access to where are the vehicles currently, where is this where's the closest hydrant, and they can give persons on the ground information concerning where to travel for the hydrants. So let me just show, let's say for example, so this is the map. Let's say I'm going to zoom into town, Soufrière town, and these little red marks there, these little hydrant marks are essentially the hydrants that have been plotted. And if I go ahead and I click on one of them, you're going to see certain attributes about it, but also a photo of the location. Let me get a good location. Okay. So for example, this one is right in front of the cathedral in Soufrière, right there. You can see the picture. So the person has a visual depiction of where the hydrant is, and also some information about it. For example, it's a sluice type. You may not know what that means, but the firefighter will know. And where exactly is it and what it is called. So I think my time is just about up, but essentially that's what it is. One project assessing is Soufrière Fire Station dangerously isolated, and then the other one is being able to plot points of interest. So in my case, this is hydrants. but it could be anything else that is interest of the fire service, so like certain buildings that house dangerous goods, or whatever department you're in. What are the points of interest that you'd like mapped on a digital device so that your full staff has access to it, and you can actually have somebody guiding them to that specific location based on GPS. With this, I thank you so much. Makapi, and back to you.
Hi. Thank you very much, Krishnan, for your impressive showing. And we now invite second presentation from Phil Leon. Phil, are you ready?
Can you see my screen, Makathian?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Great. Pleasant good morning to everyone. I would like to thank everyone for being here. This shows, the support that we need. You've seen what was done in so many sectors across the entire public service, technical public service of St. Lucia, and I hope the heads that are with us, the PSs, they can really get behind us as they see the potential that exists. I want to say thank you before I start to the team, the management team that used the funds through the DVRP to develop, not just one sector, but to throw it out there and cover all agencies that were willing to come on board. Thank you. Physical planning, sustainable development, PCU, all the managing heads behind the scene, and of course, the Kartoza team, your knowledge, your invaluable knowledge that you shared with us over the period of 8 months. Thank you for that. My foray into GIS began about 19 years ago, very long time. I didn't realize I was that old. And that was at the physical planning unit as a planning technician. And then since then, my interest has always peaked in that. So when I moved over to Ministry of Health, I immediately started to implement the things that I had learned from people that were heads in the game, like Becky, and there's Portia and David. I learned so much from them. And over at the Ministry of Health, I immediately put these things into practice. And when people saw the maps, everybody was at my door. They wanted to analysis on that, disease flow of this. And I found myself using GIS to redesign the nursing catchment areas under consultation, of course. So, I thought I was pretty amazing. So I say all that to say, when I got the message that we'll be having this training, I said, you know what? Okay, this is an opportunity for me to just, hone my skills. But folks, believe it or not, I got this, Chris said this to me. The rabbit hole of QGIS goes very, very, very deep. And when you take the red pill, you stay in QGIS and stay in QGIS land. The geo nerds will show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. And that's what happened, because I thought I was doing GIS. And I must confess, when classes started, I stopped calling myself a QGIS user because I realized I knew this much. And thank you, Tim and Charles, for making me recognize that, because the concepts that we were taught, it's really more advanced that I'd let myself on, to fully understand. And we were learning things, the training process was deep. Even from the 2 sections that you were shown, the fundamentals and the advanced, you were taught concepts that really had you to think. And I think that was one of the main points. It's not mastering the concepts. but getting us to think that, hey, this is possible. And truly, the sky, if I have to admit, the sky really is the limit for what you can do with GIS, and as what was demonstrated here today. So the sessions, we had a number of sessions, and I will pause to say this training process, I think a lot of people will agree with me, would have been better suited on the ground, in person. Anybody else agree with me?
Yes, Phil, I agree.
Yeah, it would have been much better. Yeah, and yes, and please don't do me like we did the presenters. I want to hear some feedback from you guys as I give my own feedback, if you agree or if you don't agree. Yeah, it would have been better suited in person with that type of engagement, instead of, unfortunately, having to be managing work, managing life, and then trying to really get the concepts. But having said that, the Kartoza team did a pretty good job with what was available. The online platform had a lot of information, as you saw. The Zoom sessions, group sessions, pretty good. The reading material was pretty good. The videos were excellent. A lot of videos, plenty of material. The quizzes also helped us along. And the final assignments got us to put into practice the areas that piqued our interest. Just to give you a sense, these are the things under the fundamentals program that we were introduced to. A lot of introductory material, but in the advance, we went further, and persons got a chance to really specify their interests. Like I was interested in the GIS analyst section, which touched on dashboards, Postgres, PostGIS, and then I got an opportunity to sort of sneak into other modules that maybe were suitable to what McCarthian was doing, or Krishnan was doing, and all that was open. So it really was a good amount of material that was available to us. For my project, and I'll skip over to the advanced project, I wanted, part of my duties is to report, guess what, on COVID. Yeah, that's what's happening, if in case you didn't know and you were living under a rock. So part of the process, I've been using GIS, but my use of GIS in retrospect was mundane. Looking at it, mundane. I had to repeat the process over and over, and every week or every time I have to do a report, I have to put together, then export. One of the main things that stood out to me, the three main things that stood out to me was from the content that was delivered, expressions, queries, expressions, writing these little things to automatically calculate, automation, and then database design, not just putting together an Excel spreadsheet access, but a true database design that is integrative and real time. These were the things that were missing from my output. Yes, I was getting the job done, but I was doing too much work, and I realized that I could make it better. So my objective was to design an automated reporting process to capture the high-risk areas in terms of total cases and deaths, and then to identify these areas, to zoom in on these areas. But guess what? I couldn't just do that on my own. That is why my title for this presentation includes together. Because the layers I use, yes, COVID data comes from Ministry of Health, but the settlement data I got from Central Statistics Office, the buildings area that I end up using, the lands and the roads by extension, I got also from Central Statistics Office, and the online platform, which we were introduced to. We were also introduced to the maps that are available online. And that I was able to use OpenStreetMaps, which has a certain level of detail that I found was necessary. Now the process, this may look like jargon, but the process of automation, everything that I wanted to do to achieve that is encapsulated there. In other words, this has been set out so that I just click a button and then my map, as you can see, is updated. All my queries run and everything updates. All I have to do is now add it to my report. Okay, so this includes counting points of the polygons that were entered from the various sites, extracting the attributes, setting the layer styles, doing further extractions from extractions, all to get this. And that's why I want people to appreciate when they see this in the report, it looks like a pretty picture, but it is not. This at the top from the date is an expression. The total cases is an expression, and this is data as of yesterday. Our cases have not been processed for today. So it's updated as of yesterday, right? Our deaths as of yesterday, all this is updated. All the areas of high risk automatically updated and the number of cases. And if I want for the future, I can add prevalence to that. And in addition, show a chart. Okay, so this is not just a pretty picture. This has a lot behind it that you need to appreciate. And then GIS and what we learned afforded me the opportunity of doing that. Now, I took it a step further. Really, you create a map not just to present. You want action, you want intervention, you want something to come of it. You want to make a difference in St. Lucia. I know for a fact all the projects that we have shown, that is the intention. We want to create a better St. Lucia, and we were given the tools. So we went about creating ideas, hypotheses to go about doing that. What we are seeing here is the areas that have been identified, you know, in terms of the buildings, since our data is pretty scarce. And that's why we need each department to go ahead and do their best. Because on my own, I cannot create this. I need stats to give me an updated settlement area with populations, male, female, and whatnot. I need that information on the buildings, occupancy. You know, I need planning to give me a street level map that details everything along the streets. And we had a project, we do have a project in line that there's this hypothesis that the number of bars have increased. So by, you know, if you put the two together, increasing cases, increasing bars, is it really the bars that are causing an increase, the bars that are causing an increase in cases? You know, this is a hypothesis, but we hear that over the media. Do we have proof of that? We may have it, and we do in qualitative form, but to really quantify that, and furthermore, to give persons a visual perspective that, yes, these are the bars, these are the ones that just popped up. We had an excellent project as well from Joel to update buildings as they pop up in specific areas. You can see we can use that data at Ministry of Health now to merge with our high-risk areas and then, you know, make some assumptions, some really plausible assumptions, and more so to zone in on areas. So in total, I found 9,715, that's both in the north and the south, of households or buildings with the potential for spread in a coverage area, these hexagons of 1.5 kilometers. And in my model, this can be increased or decreased. The reason why I use 1.5 kilometers square is because based on research, infectivity may cover that area because of people's movement. So I was not satisfied just to use the settlements because they are pretty wide. So I went down to the buildings, but it also exposed the need for better quality layers. So my challenge now to redesign, remember I said my third aspect was database design and good database practice, to redesign our existing databases to produce real-time geospatial analysis in QGIS. This is not as easy as I thought. And thanks, Charles, for busting my bubble. But then with what we learned in FOSS GIS, Postgres administration, it is possible. It may take some work, but it is possible, and we've been given the tools to make us aware of how to go about doing it. The highlights for me of the training, definitely the talent that exists with my colleagues. There is so much talent. There are persons that I have had years of using QGIS. There are persons that have had no years, and then within the space of 8 months, they were doing some impressive things. This needs to be recognized. There is definitely talent at all levels of the technical arm of the public service. We hear that public service does nothing, but this has shown that we have people that, yes, they have the potential for further development, and they have a level of dedication that we need to recognize. And furthermore, we need to water. Not just for me, not just for Ministry of Health, you know, across the board, we need to water that. We need to develop that. And resounding, when we work together, we can accomplish so much. I will reiterate, I could not have done this project without layers or work from other departments. We are heavily reliant on each other, hence the NSDI. It's not just for department, not just for physical planning, but now I can appreciate it is for everyone. So the way forward, as I wrap up, I hope we can continue to develop our ideas and improve our outputs. We have some great ideas. Don't just let it slip. And to think of our work, my colleagues, my dear colleagues, as an essential part of the GIS macrocosm. Don't just think of your little, you know, my little silo. You know, we need each other, and let us continue to build that relationship that we have started to build. We have a user group. I hope we can all join. We may not be able to do it all the time, but at least our presence and our guidance from the skill set we can do. So I want to thank you. This is the end of my presentation. A special thanks to especially the the Kartoza team, Nerdvana, the GeoNerds, the whole team. You guys are great, but especially Charles, Tim, and Admire. Our GeoNerds were with us all the way, and they helped us to move forward. So I thank you very much for your time, your patience, and continue to do your best.
Thank you very much, Phil, and congratulations to Phil and Krishnan, our two top students coming out of our fundamentals. One of the things that is very striking is the contrast between these two students. Like Phil said, he has been there with approximately 19 years of GIS experience. And Krishnan's experience his experience with GIS started on the day that he came into the classes. He came into the classes wondering what on earth his superiors were asking him to go and do this course for, because like most persons, he thought GIS meant Government Information Service, right? So I want to congratulate both of them. And during the preparation of this, in most of the documentation, if you see my notes, you might find out that I referred to Krishnan's presentation as the zero to hero. And indeed, he is a hero. I mean, he rushes into burning buildings to save lives of strangers. And if I see two fellas fighting, I'm not so sure whether they're going to hurt me, I walk in the other direction. So I'm definitely not the hero here, but Krishnan is. So congratulations to you two and your superiors for allowing you all to have participated in this training program. At this point, I wish to invite a representative from the PCU, Ms. Cheryl Matre, to deliver a few remarks. Ms. Matre?
Yes, thank you very much, McCarthy, and good morning to everybody. To the graduates, I want to say good morning to you and congratulations. This is indeed a momentous occasion for the PCU. It was a long road, but I am extremely pleased to see what we have today. I must say that we did select the right firm. The selection process was long, but based on the results that we have today, I can see that the firm selected was indeed a good firm, Kartoza. So I'd like to give you a round of applause for your work. I'm working with our participants, our persons from the public service. I'd like to thank the Department of Physical Planning for its effective leadership and management of this activity. Based on what I see here, we are making good headway into moving ahead with the NSDI and what we want to get out of the NSDI. I like to see the amount of collaboration and consultation there was in terms of this training. So it actually forced participants to meet others and to work together. More importantly is the number of women who participated in this training. Seldom do you see women in such areas. I'm pleased that and the creativity in the projects that have been presented in terms of looking at disaster risk management. I'm sure that that the team at the bank would be pleased to see some of the projects that are coming out. In fact, all of the projects that are coming out here, everyone that I saw, I mean, I was saying, this is what we have been talking about for a number of years for people to understand. And I think both presentations did show that people were able to speak in layman language. It was not about technical, it was not about vertical this and vertical that. We were able to bring this in a practical sense so that the ordinary persons can understand the benefits of QGIS. I mean, I was watching Phil's presentation on COVID. I watched the ones on crime. I mean, this is excellent work, and in such a short time. I am pleased to see that we were able to get so many, tap into the various sectors and to show how this can have a benefit to the country. And Phil, I'd like to thank you, and I would like persons to remember that last presentation, the last few slides that he had, which stresses on the need for us to continue to work together, the need for collaboration. That slide highlights of the training. I wish people would take that with them. Coming out of this, I see there's a lot that we can do to market. I hope we can have some kind of showcase where we can put that talent out on display so persons can see that the public service is not a dead horse, but it is indeed effective. We have great minds in the public service. So Angela and team, I'm hoping that from this we can have some kind of showcase or fair to show what QGIS and the benefits that it can have to persons and to the different sectors and to the public at large. I do not want this to come out like we're living here and people don't understand how it can facilitate and make work easy and really improve our planning processes. I'd like to thank the PCU team for working and ensuring the timely payments to the consultant, in assisting the Department of Physical Planning, Angela, Chris, Natasha, Shelina. I'd like to say a big thank you to you all. And I hope that we continue to work together. I hope that we can, I see some of these same participants again when we start off with the NSDI. They support the consultancy that will provide support and help assist us in rolling out the NSDI. I'd like to thank you and I wish you a pleasant day and all the best as you continue to showcase your talents and continue to work in a collaborative and consultative mode in terms of moving the NSDI in St. Lucia, because this is just a stepping stone to getting us into a full-fledged operating NSDI. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Matre, for these remarks and the encouragement. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are drawing near to the end of our planned program for the day. I wish to now invite Ms. Susanna Aurelia. Susanna, are you ready to present the vote of thanks?
Good morning, PS, Department of Physical Development, DPS, Department of Physical Development at Urban Renewal, heads of section, Kartoza team, PCU team, and last but by no means least, our graduates. This training captured the true sense of the saying that the race is not for the swift, but for those who can endure till the end. The consultant being the Kartoza team, having had to overcome the challenges of non-travel and the added challenges of converting a face-to-face learning program to a fully virtual learning training program. With this said, I would like to thank the team, namely Team Gavin, Charles, Admire, Zinzi, Siguele, and Amy. Thank you for devising methods to overcome the challenges of virtual learning. I would especially like to point out Charles and Tim, who would be on Telegraph during wee hours and even on weekends, responding to queries and giving advice and guidance to trainees. This showed real dedication and a true passion for what you do. Secondly, I would like to thank the PCU and the World Bank team. The incidence of COVID-19 placed challenges on the award of contracts, and the PCU and the World Bank team, especially in the names of Angela Burnett and Christopher Williams, were especially willing and able to go well overboard to ensure that the benefits of the training were fully executed and that the payments for the deliverables were compensated as per the contract. Thirdly, I would like to thank the graduates for their time and the effort. With respect to time, this training required 4 hours a day, 3 days a week, and many more hours committed to practice and the execution of the assignments. I know that being able to balance your time at work whilst keeping your individual work mandates was indeed a challenge. I would like to thank your heads of section and your PSCs who allowed you to participate, and I anticipate that all of you would help to build awareness of GIS within your individual ministries and sections, and that you would be able to apply what you have learned through your ministry and throughout the public sector. As we close this program today, and as we go our separate ways, I would like to implore to you to continue to use and increase your skills. As you were made aware during this training was part of the Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project, which is funded by the World Bank. And within the DVRP, there are a number of other projects that we anticipate would require your newly acquired skills. One such being the NSDI, which stands for National Spatial Data Infrastructure, which will facilitate the compilation of disparate data for analysis that will help us all to increase the efficiency of our mandates in our individual ministries. The Department of Physical Development will be reaching out to you in the near future as we continue to build our geospatial systems to a point where the automation of data systems becomes a joint effort through joint partnership. And we anticipate that this training has opened up the eyes of many for the potential of such a partnership. And with this, I thank you and I wish you all a good day.
Thank you very much, Susanna. So we are now at the end of our scheduled program. And before we part, I would like to say thank you to some persons who helped us along that journey many, many years before we actually started this training. I remember having to work with Mr. Jim Joseph with Sling, the St. Lucia National Integrated GeoNode, and also along the lines, Mr. Mike Fedak from the World Bank, who was pretty much like our hand holder in moving things along. At this point, I wish to invite or open the floor to any participant or supervisor or participants or anyone present who wishes to say something to do so. I acknowledge the presence of the Deputy Fire Chief, Mr. George Victorin, and I would encourage him to make a few comments if he so desires. But anyone who wishes to do so may proceed.
Yes, good morning. Good morning, participants.
Good morning, Mr. Victorin.
Yes, indeed. Okay, I want to start off by congratulating Mr. Alexander, our staff, for developing such a wonderful project. In fact, it is a project that we've been discussing for years, you know, and it is very interesting that Mr. Alexander, based on the training that he received, was able to put it together so well. And I'm very impressed with his presentations with all the parameters, because that is exactly what we've been looking for. And I can give the assurance that from the fire department standpoint, we will put the necessary arrangements in place to ensure that we can implement that project. We will use Mr. Alexander. Well, his project was based in Soufrière, but we really need it to be extended throughout the island so that it can assist us with our fire responses and make our operations more efficient. So I want to thank the organizers of this project, the sponsors, the World Bank, and I can assure you that from our standpoint and from Mr. Alexander's presentation and his project, we will ensure that we put it into practice so we can benefit fully from it. So thank you once again.
Thank you, Mr. Victorin. I now wish to invite Mr. Kimroy Rennie to speak. Mr. Rennie? Mr. Rennie, we're not hearing you. I see you've unmuted, but no sound's coming through. Mr. Rennie? Okay. Whilst we wait for Mr. Rennie to sort out his physical muted problem, I see we also have Mr. Jim Joseph wanting to speak. So Mr. Jim Joseph, you may proceed.
Thank you, McCarthy, and good morning to all. I must say I am really impressed with the presentations that were made this morning. I think Chris sent me an invite this morning, and thankfully I had another scheduled meeting that was canceled or postponed, so I was able to attend. But really this speaks volume for progress of GIS in St. Lucia. It's something that has been advocated for years, and I know the hurdles and stumbling blocks that the Department of Physical Planning and the GIS team has faced. But to see open source software being utilized and its value being appreciated, I'm hearing somebody like Phil, who is an ArcGIS advocate and swore to it and looked at QGIS over the years as a second-rated or third-rated application. To him,
oh man.
Sorry, Phil. but hearing him today becoming an advocate for QGIS and seeing the power of what it can do in the production of maps and automating some of the processes, utilization of PostGIS and using some of the tools, and fully actually using GeoNode to be able to serve as a geospatial platform for data sharing is really, really testament to how far we've come. So I just want to congratulate the team, the PCU unit, for their contribution in making this happen. And really, I just want to wish the team all the best. And like somebody said, I'm hopeful that it will not just stay on somebody's PC, but the full benefit of what has been accomplished will be shared so it can be replicated. So just want to wish the team all the best and looking forward to the next steps.
Thank you very much, Joseph. Mr. Rennie, are we able to hear you now? Okay, Mr. Rennie, we're still not hearing you. Type me a message in the chat to let me know what's happening with you, please. And okay, he's having some issues with his mic. But if you type out your message, I could read it. At this point, I would like to invite Dr. Francois to address us, please. Dr. Francois, you may proceed.
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning to all on the call. Thank you, McCarthy, and special good morning to the trainers. The journey through QGIS was a very interesting one. I think I indicated initially my interest being the unit that I'm in and the benefit that I saw to the unit being able to plot our diseases, our burden, our wellness centers. I mean, the list goes on and on. I am particularly impressed with the presentations that I saw this morning, and definitely I think Phil said it and a number of presenters said it, that there is talent within the group. I think it is something that other ministries need to take up. Personally, COVID came at a rough time. It really disrupted everything and continues to disrupt everything, and would have loved to continued. But I think it is something that I can pursue on my own. I will try my best. I have Phil there, who I know is ready and willing to assist. But to try to ensure that other persons, mainly within our unit, are able to at least get to the level of fundamentals. I think that is very, very important. I'm happy to see environmental health was part of this. It is something that they have been calling on for a while now in terms of plotting the vector indices, where the highest burden, etc. So it was a very, very beneficial training. I do appreciate having received the invitation to participate, and I really look forward to improving and to building on it. I'm very aware that if you don't use it, you lose it. So I will make time in my schedule to try to practice QGIS and use it and develop a little further. So thank you so much for having us, and very, very good job to the trainers. We really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Francois. And still not sure. Okay, let's see if we can hear from Mr. Kimroy Rennie. Okay, proceed, Mr. Rennie.
Yes, good day.
Sorry, I can hear you.
I have to change my device.
Okay.
On behalf of the Office of the Commissioner of Police and the RSLPF, I want to congratulate my colleagues who I think have properly represented the police force. I also want to congratulate every other participant who successfully completed this course. As a police department, data is one of our biggest assets, and being able to manipulate and analyze information, I think, is key to us being able to really provide a professional, precise policing service to the public. And from the example presented by the officer from the fire service, you could see how important just analysis of information could enhance the quality of work that the officers engage in on a daily basis. So I just want to take the opportunity to ask every person to continue to practice what they've been taught, continue to utilize the information to provide a better service to the public. And like we said, like was intimated earlier, the public service has a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experience, and very technical people who are able to help enhance the quality of service that we provide. And we've seen it time and time again. Most of the times, the brilliant minds join the private sector. They come from the public service. So I want us to really understand the value of what we have learned and really utilize it in our everyday effort. I could assure you that the RSLPF will attempt to make the best use of this training to help provide a more professional policing service to every member of the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rennie. We will now have Christopher Williams, if he is available.
Okay, thank you, McCarthy. So good morning, everyone. I just wanted to highlight again how impressed I am with the outcome of this this training. Looking at what we saw as a terms of reference and seeing what has actually come to fruition, has really exceeded all of my expectations. Of course, kudos to Department of Physical Planning for having the vision of sharing this training with everyone, opening it up to all of the departments and not keeping it within their unit, and understanding the holistic approach required for GIS. And in terms of the user group, just to encourage everyone to sort of keep that group going, keep that community spirit, and keep on sharing information and troubleshooting. And I think that this will help us all to build our skills. I started off, as a previous GIS user, being able to understand what was in the group. It was English, people were talking about vector and raster and layers. And then a few weeks into the group, it was all Python scripts and SQL. And I realized that I definitely needed to beef up my skills so that I can make a more meaningful participation in the group. But definitely keep the group going. And of course, from what you have learned, do try to share your knowledge of GIS and the interest in GIS with some of your co-workers. And you never know, you may bring someone else into the fold who may be just as energized and enthusiastic as Mr. Alexander from the fire service, and Phil Leo, and a lot of the other persons who have put in the work over this course. So hats off to everyone, the trainers, the PCU, physical planning, and I hope that we continue to build upon what the foundation that we've put in place here. Thanks.
Thank you, Chris. If there's no one who wishes to speak, that means we have come to the end of our ceremony. And this is the point where we would have normally gathered around the table for refreshments, but unfortunately, because of our COVID era, we are unable to do so. I don't know whether that is a joy for the PCU, since they would have had to be funding the refreshments. So I actually went and get my own. So I might have to send the bill to Ms. Mathre. So thank you everybody for joining us. Have a wonderful day. We shall be sending the certificates to others, to all the recipients shortly.
Charles's hand is up. Charles's hand is up.
Charles's hand. Oh, yes,
yeah,
Charles.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so for those of you who haven't interacted with me, most of the delegates know me quite well at this point, maybe as Batman, but I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for their participation. Thank you for everyone who made the project possible and giving us the opportunity to be involved and to deliver this training. There are a lot of challenges when it comes to virtual training. It's very difficult to assess people's ongoing participation level, the level of understanding, and it kind of puts the onus on the trainees to engage with us a lot. There's not all that much that we can do from the distant shores of another country. That said, when I started assessing or evaluating the GIS fundamentals assignments, I was kind of blown away by the quality, the overall quality that was delivered. And, you know, I was a bit concerned before I had received all of those assignments. But once I started looking at them, like the overall quality, like from the people that did submit assignments, was very, very high. And it made us feel quite good that, you know, we had done a decent job, especially for the people like hanging out in the background and just consuming all of this knowledge and so on. So again, a big thanks to especially all the advanced track trainees, the people who completed those. You were typically much more involved and engaged with us, made our jobs easier, especially to Phil, Leon, and Krishnan Alexander. Your participation in sessions and your level of engagement, enthusiasm, and just being present all the time. Those of us who have had to speak on these virtual platforms, you end up kind of talking to yourself for very long periods of time. It's very hard to get feedback other than the occasional reaction. So for the people that did come onto the microphone and just engage with us, you really did make our jobs a lot easier. So a special thank you to you. And also to Markathian. Markathian, you've been my backup throughout the entire project. Whenever I needed assistance, you know, I knew that I could rely on just like, you know, getting hold of you, and like almost any hour, whether you were on vacation or not, you know, I could kind of rely on you to sort out anything that happened to happen on the side of the Department of Physical Planning and so on. So a very special thank you to you, and well done to everybody. So thanks. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Charles.
And a final big thank you from me as well, Tim. Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you, Tim. Thank you very much. So with this, we now bid each other farewell.
Well, not farewell, but till next time.
Yes.
Agreed.
Good job, McAfee, and hosting.
Thank you.
And we know the only reason.
From start to end.
And have a good day, everyone.
Yes.
All right, great. Thank
Once
you,
again,
Susanna.
hooray to everybody.
Is there an after party, Markathian?
Well, I have my ping pong and my peanuts, and I think I probably have some soda water somewhere. So
celebrate for all of us, McAfee.
The music's going, and I'm going to hang around for